Assalamualaikum and good day to Dr. Putri Zarina and also to my fellow coursemate. So today my group is going to present our report which is about pattern and implication on the micro and macro pattern in the discourse. So before I start with the presentation, I would like to introduce my group members, which is me myself, Syaraf Zirain bin Zainuddin, Muhammad Aiman Izuddin bin Amirullah and Ku Zianji. So before I start with the presentation, I would like to talk about SETT framework. So what is SETT framework? SETT framework is used to help teacher to analyze his or her classroom interaction of their lesson in order to develop a comprehension of the interaction that take place in their classes. The purpose of this framework is to help the teacher to become a much better educator. The SETT framework has 4 modes and 14 interactional features. For this assignment, we are using our TESOL senior teaching video, and his name is Oliver Lewis, and now he is in semester 8. He was my senior when I was in secondary school, and now he is also my senior in TESOL in UPSI. So moving on to the next slide, which is about the mode of SETT framework. So there are 4 modes of SETT framework, which is managerial mode, material mode, skills and systems mode, and lastly classroom context mode. So for this assignment, I am talking about managerial mode for my part. So the first mode that I've spotted in the video is managerial mode. So the pedagogic goal of managerial mode is to transmit information, organize the physical learning environment, refer learner to the material, introduce or conclude an activity, and to change from one mode of learning to another. The interactional feature that I found used most frequently in the video during managerial mode is a single extended teacher turn that uses explanation and instruction. So the teacher did most of the talking while the student would normally listen and be quiet. So here are some examples of the managerial mode, the interaction that I have transcribed. So the teacher, this is what the teacher said. Okay, he is handsome, he is tall, has dark hair. Now the one that I am doing, what is it actually when I say? And the student reply, describe. And the teacher said describing, and the student replied back, describe person. And the teacher continue on by saying, that's what we are going to do today. You are going to describe something. Okay, so this is managerial mode to introduce an activity, and its interaction is a single extended teacher turn that uses explanation and instruction. So moving on to the next slide, which is about the pattern and implication. So in this video, the implication of managerial mode in the video is quite positive, whereby the students are very outspoken and seem to be very comfortable with the teachers. Hence, the teacher has to be more in control of the class in order to actually have a functional teaching learning session. The implementation of managerial mode made the classroom more organized, as the teachers seem to be able to control the classroom. But I'm going to talk more about that later. The teacher used interactional feature which involves the students, such as confirmation check and clarification requests, to ensure that the student comprehend the activity. So if you can see here, I said that in the third point, the implementation of managerial mode made the classroom more organized, as the teacher seemed to be able to control the classroom. So that is what I see in the video. The teacher managed to handle the classroom, and the student listened to what the teacher said. However, my only comment is that though the student understand the instruction, there are still some students who don't really pay attention and talk during the lecture. Here, the teacher need to be more strict, in my opinion, when delivering information and instruction to make sure that the whole class understand the lesson. Student talking are like popcorn. It's hard to shut them up. They always have something to say. Hence the teacher need to build a good relationship with his student so that they would listen to what the teacher is telling them. Apart from that, the teacher can teach the consequences of not paying attention in class. For example, it will disturb other students that want to learn or will make the lesson objective a failure. So that is all from my part. Moving on to the next presenter.
The next mode spotted in the video is material mode. The pedagogic goal of material mode is for the teacher to become the person that is conducting the materials, making sure that the material accessible for student, and teacher need to be opportunistic in teaching. There are some interactional features that are focused on material mode, which are initial response feedback, IRF pattern, form focused feedback, error correction, scaffolding, and translation. The interactional features that the teacher focused on in the video for material mode is an extensive use of display questions and scaffolding, which provides clues and hints and gives students some assistance to help students brainstorm or think more about the materials. So this is the transcript that have been made on material mode. As you can see in the first part, the teacher start by saying, okay, now the picture that I want to show you, can you guess? What is it? Not this picture. And then he leave a picture. The students continue to make wrong guesses. And then the teacher shake head notifying wrong answer was given. The student continued to make wrong guesses. So the teacher said, does this look familiar? And give us a sneak peek on the picture. Then the student continue to guess. Then the teacher finally show the picture. Student then start cheering. This part, the teacher is extensively is using display question for the student to guess what picture is he trying to show. For the second part, the teacher said that these are the example, the type that you can do on your mind map, or you can use point form. That's okay too. Come on, you have like 40 minutes from now. In this part, it shows that the teacher is using scaffolding to give students some idea and imagination on how to make a mind map. And for the third part, the teacher said, remember that it doesn't need to be like singing competition. Maybe in the picture they are just dancing or they are just gossiping. Then he continued by saying, you create your own story as long as you describe the picture. In this part, the teacher also uses scaffolding to give a brief example of what to write so that it could help them have a better idea for the writing. In the video, the implication of material mode is positive. Students could catch the activity easier with the hints and clues that have been given by the teacher. The teacher tried to give an easy example to the students about the mind map so that the students have a better understanding of what they need to do. This enables students to not think too hard because there are students that could easily do the task, but for the intermediate and low proficiency students, this hint would be very helpful for them. The teacher is trying to assist the students to understand a little bit better and not get stuck on planning things to write. Our recommendation for the teacher is to make his lesson more engaging in this mode by giving a lot more space and time for the student, because it is better for them to have a great discussion among themselves in order to come up with their very own and pure finding. This will help the student to think more or brainstorm on their own so that it will help them during their test or further when they are outside in the future, when they are going to find a job or anything that is connecting with them.
Okay. However, there is one mod that is missing in Oliver's teaching video, and that mod is skills and system mods. So the mod was not executed due to the kind of activity that they did in the class, which is describing something. This activity is more toward asking the student to describe something on their own. So basically, they are not getting any input from the teacher, but they are rather being creative and using their thinking skills and to do the classroom activity. So that is why the teacher didn't execute the skills and system mod. Even though he didn't execute this mod, he need to know that this mod is very important and should be implemented for his upcoming lesson, as the teacher need to know how to enable the student to produce a correct form, manipulate the target language, provide corrective feedback, provide learner with practice in sub skills.
So lastly, I'm going to talk about classroom context mode applied in a video. The pedagogical goal of classroom context mode is to enable learners to express themselves clearly, establish a context, and promote oral fluency. The interactional features that we usually see in classroom context mode are extended learner turns, short teacher turns, minimal repair, content feedback, referential questions, scaffolding, and also clarification questions, of course. So the interactional features applied in the video are extended learner turns and short teacher turns. So we can see that the table below shows the analysis of the classroom context, pedagogical goals, and interactional features with examples of the transcription. So the scene starts with the teacher walks around facilitating and assisting students. So the teacher say, you can describe your experience. A student was expressing a hard time during the event in the picture. The teacher answered, it's okay. So the students continues to express a hard time during the event in the picture. The teacher comforted her with things happens. So this is the classroom context mode, which happened in the video. The pedagogical goal is to enable learners to express themselves clearly. The interactional features in the video are extended learner turns and short teacher turns, which is as a response. So without further ado, let us move to the patterns and implications of the classroom context mode in the video. So basically, the implication of the classroom context mode is quite interesting and the environment seems to be lively. The teacher uses the classroom context that enables the learners to express themselves clearly. The interaction between the teacher and the student involves extended learner turns and short teacher turns, where the teacher allocates time for the student to react and also respond to the student's situation. So based on our understanding, the classroom context mode is all about the spoken interaction between teachers and students, such as giving a little bit of guidance and also clarifying students' questions. Although classroom context mode focuses more on the chances for students to interact among themselves, we need to bear in mind that not every student is as smart as we expect them to be. Some of them are introverted. So what I mean by this is some of the students they will face difficulties while trying to communicate with the students they are not familiar with. Thus, we teacher need to be really careful while walking around the classroom, observing students' situation, especially for group activities, in order to avoid, in order to avoid unwanted situation, such as some of the introverted students feel left out while the activities are still ongoing. So, move to the conclusion. Based on the analysis, we have learned more details about how to analyze classroom discourse using set framework. For instance, each mode has pedagogical goals and interactional features to aid teachers in better classroom management. We have also learned that there are four features of classroom discourse, which are control of the interaction, speech modifications, elicitation, and repair that are fairly vital in both teaching and learning process. The usage of said framework will be able to aid us in granting insight into how a classroom discourse builds ability for the students to critically respond and express themselves using the English in the future. So I think that's all from our group. Thank you and wish Doctor have a nice day.